All right, here we go. Our next bout. Let's welcome our next fighter making his way to the cage, Vince Cachero.
Making his way to the cage now, 23-year-old Vince Cachero stands 5 feet 6 inches tall. He's an orthodox fighter making his camo debut here at the University of Mixed Martial Arts. Currently living in Playa Vista, California, but his home originally in Hawaii. Also training tonight with Systems Training Center, one more Ian Harris protege. Not lots of MMA experience, but he did get first place in the beginner division of the North American Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu No-Gi Championship in 2012.
That's pretty good, you know. Better than novice division, and shows you got some skills and you got the composure to go through a tournament. They bang out those tournaments pretty fast. You have to have good conditioning, and you know they're not easy. At least he has some ground game. You know, if it hits the ground, I think he'll be all right.
Well, he is a manager over there at Systems Training Center, so, you know, he's definitely all the way in it. He trained kickboxing on and off for 3 years in college just for fun, but then he spent 1 month in Thailand after college and trained some Muay Thai and just fell in love, and ever since then, he's been over at Systems.
So he's probably pretty well-rounded. If he won the BJJ No-Gi Championship as well as going to Thailand and getting some training, you know, it's just the middle game. Does he have wrestling? Can he get takedowns, or can he avoid being on his back?
That's always the big question. How do you handle the transition game in mixed martial arts? He doesn't have any children, but he did list his Australian cattle dog Apollo, who's 2 years old, as his little man, as his little child.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Well done.
And his opponent making his way to the cage, Tanner, the Standard Chapman.
Next coming to the cage, his opponent, Tanner Chapman, the 19-year-old, stands 6 feet tall on the dot. He's an orthodox fighter with a camo record of 1 win and 1 loss, both fights in 2012. Within just a few days of each other, one July 27th, the next one August 3rd. A win in round 1 in the first fight, a loss in round 3 in the second fight, both by way of submission.
What a pain in the ass that is. You win your first ever fight, and not even a week later you take your first loss. Like, big emotions, you go, I'm undefeated, and then next week you're like, yeah, I hear you're undefeated. Like, nah, I just lost. I just lost this week.
The shortest undefeated streak in the history of mixed martial arts.
I don't think that's true.
I guess if you go back to the one-night Pride tournaments.
The tournaments.
Yeah.
Not even Pride. There's tournaments.
Now, Tanner Chapman does have a very creative, aggressive jiu-jitsu game. He's good at chaining submissions. That win against Tommy Foe, he kept his opponent just defending submission after submission. It was a transition, arm bar to triangle to arm bar to shoulder lock, and eventually switching from an arm bar to a mounted triangle to finish that fight. So I'm excited to see if Tanner does the same thing tonight. Just that continuous attack of chain, 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 chain.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this because he's got a big height advantage on this fight. He's a young dude. He's very lean. He's like a thinner Stefan Struve looking guy.
He's definitely got a jiu-jitsu style body, long limbs, skinny. Doesn't look weak, just lithe, if someone's ever used that word in real life. All right, now let's enter the cage with our good friend Salvador Arellano.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Our next fight is brought to you by Punch Drunk, the #1 comedy sports podcast. Scheduled for 3 2-minute rounds in the 145-pound division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. Making his debut, he stands at 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighing at 144.4 pounds. Representing Systems Training Center from Honolulu, Hawaii, Vince Cachero! And his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, a Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. He brings a record of 1 win and 1 loss to the cage. He stands at 6 feet tall and weighing at 144.2 pounds. Fighting with IMAC from Anaheim, California, Tanner, the Standard Chapman. Man in charge of the action, Mylan Hares.
Vincent Cachero in the blue corner, Tanner Chapman in the red. A systems training center manager in the blue, a security guard in the red.
Let's see if he can keep himself secure.
So far, very aggressive striking from Chapman.
I definitely like Chapman's color scheme. It's very Superman-esque.
Definitely true. I like his hips even better right now. Very good at moving those hips around.
What did you just say?
His hips.
You like his hips.
I like his hips. They're good hips.
Good hips.
Top tier hips.
Really good hips. So these guys are exchanging pretty well. I like some of our, even though we're about a minute in, looks like some of our more well-rounded guys of the night.
You know what I like about both these guys, especially Vince right now, is setting up with that jab.
Vince let a nice little hook that made Chapman kind of question some stuff.
You know, Chapman controlling the center. Both guys mostly keeping
nice, beautiful combo.
Chapman is coming in with that chin a little high when he starts throwing those strikes, but it's kind of hard to throw a punch back when you're eating a whole bunch of straights.
It's not easy, especially when the guy has some reach on you. And he threw something like Brian Ebersol taught me, something called a jabber cut. It's almost a jab and uppercut together. And it's kind of deceptive. He's got a little deceptiveness to him.
Well, so far, it seems like the more effective striking has come from Tanner Chapman. And, you know, you see Gonzalez, or you see Cachero controlling the grappling action, but at the same time, you see Chapman doing a great job of not letting it go anywhere.
Exactly.
Oh, a nice straight right and then a left from Cachero.
Now, if he can get a takedown here, that's really crucial to winning the round.
You know, it's going to be a tough round to score, but with Cachero ending that round in the more dominant position.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, with these 2-minute rounds, it's a little easier with the 5-minute rounds because it's an odd number. You could say the person, let's say red won the first 2 minutes, blue won the last 3 minutes. It's tough because this one kind of went 50-50, I feel. You know, red won the first minute and he lost the second minute. It's tough to... It's tough with the even numbers. That's the reason why championship fights aren't 4 or 6 rounds, because we'd have a lot of draws.
You got to go 5. Got to give them 1 and 1. Got to give them 2 and 3, whatever it might be. We don't want 1 and 1. That's the exact thing we're not going for. Gosh,
it's tough. You know, I think for the fighters' sake, 3 threes would be a really nice amount of time for these guys to fight.
You know, you can have 3-minute rounds in the amateur rankings, but only when both fighters have had a certain number of amateur fights.
Is that what it is? I didn't know that.
They have to both have a certain number of fights and agree to it as well. Here we go, round number 2. Vince Cachero in the blue, Tanner Chapman in the red.
Do we have any 3-minute fights tonight?
None tonight. It's very rare to see that in California.
Gotcha. Interesting. Interesante, as they say in Espanol.
Is that what they say?
Some do. So here we have Cachero get a nice takedown, but Chapman immediately looking with some modified rubber guard, just playing a high guard, looking to possibly get a triangle, throwing some strikes to maybe open up and get him to catch a submission.
I really like what Chapman's doing here right now, though. He's definitely seeming, even though he's on the bottom, he's seeming like he's putting Cachero in more danger.
We could have a fight-ending submission right here. He's got, I'd say those punches are going to help you, but you're going to get tapped, and you do.
And there it is, the jiu-jitsu game of Tanner Chapman. We talked about it beforehand, the slightness of those submissions, the comfort with that, and the same move he won his first fight with, that triangle choke, ends this fight here in round number 2.
No, that was awesome. I like what he did. You know, he avoided getting his guard pass, and he got the triangle up nicely, and he immediately tightened it up. Cachero tried to throw strikes rather than defending the triangle, which could, even though it's a couple seconds of throwing strikes, it gives your opponent a couple seconds to make the submission tighter.
Yeah, and that was the interesting, you know, you saw Cachero looking like he was going to go for a slam for a second, And then his submission defense turns into, let me punch this guy in the face in hopes he'll let go of it. But especially when you're under a triangle, that's the thing about a good submission is it makes it really hard for you to actually throw a strike. And here we go seeing that, we have the end of Cachero trying to throw those things, but eventually, if you just can stick in there and avoid the annoyance of those punches, you're gonna get that tap.
That's what it is. It's more annoyance than anything. If you have a guy in a submission, and it's not if you have a guy in a submission, if you know that it's a good submission, you'll eat some punches knowing that everything's getting darker for your opponent, air is getting cut off, blood is getting cut off. You realize you're in a fight, so just take some shots and get the submission. That's what it's crucial to, it's not just about having good takedowns, having good submission defense, or having good top game. Passing the guard is huge. If you can pass the guard and get yourself into good position, you'll avoid submissions. Cachero had a couple of chances to pass the guard, but he couldn't push the knee down past his leg and got caught.
We have Chapman here fighting from IMAC, but you look at his shorts again, that same John Machado logo.
Is that submission guy that we were talking about earlier?
That guy who can choke people.
I heard about that dude.
With our official call, here is Salvador Arellano.
The punishment ends 49 seconds into the second round. Your winner by way of tap out due to a triangle. Out of the red corner, Tanner the Standard Chapman.
Tanner, congratulations. Second win with a submission. Is it fair to say you work those triangles pretty often in training?
Oh yeah, that's my favorite move. Everyone knows that's my favorite move. Yeah.
That's very Ronda Rousey of you.
My wife right there. That's Ronda Rousey. If you hear it, I love you. You're my wife.
There's a proposal out there for Ronda if she'd like to hear it. So, submission game. That's the plan when you come in? That's how you want to finish the fight?
That wasn't the plan, but I got on my back, and that's what I love to be. So, once I got there, I got it.
Well done. What do you want to say to all your friends and fans in the audience?
Thank you. I want to thank my friends, family. I love you guys. Without you, I'd be nothing. I especially want to thank my coaches, Master Lee, Zach, Adrian, all my training partners from IMAC. It's all because of you guys.
Let's give it up for him, Tanner Chapman, the Triangle Man.
Winner by second round triangle, Tanner Chapman.